dragonflies, and welcome back to my channel. So I was working on a PowerPoint for my kids that was teaching them about India. And one of the projects that we were going to be doing for that was to be drawing an elephant that had a mandala on it. And so I thought that would be a really fun one to share on my channel as well. So I'm going to go ahead and have you guys turn your paper landscape, and we're going to go ahead and create an elephant. I'll show you guys how to go ahead and decorate it, and then we'll add our color. So when you're making the elephant's head, we're going to start right about here on our paper. So give yourself enough room, and we're going to go ahead and make a sloping line like this. So almost like a very slight S curve right there. Then you're going to go ahead and pull it up, and we're going to create the little nose on the trunk of this elephant. So go ahead and make like a little loop right here, and then we're going to bring that back down towards the face. Okay. For the next part, we're going to create the ear. So if you just go up a little bit and then down to a point, okay, maybe about the middle of its face. And then we're going to pull that line down and curve up again. All right. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to add a little tiny line down and then come out just a little bit for where we're going to create where the tusk comes out. All right, make a little cheekbone right here. And then let's go ahead and pull out a little pointed tusk here. All right, let's go ahead and add the eye. We're going to just make a little curvy mark here and then a circle. Add your double highlight inside there, color around that. You can kick it out a little bit for the edge of the eye. And then we're going to go ahead and add its back. All right, I just want to make sure that I wasn't going to mess up this picture, so I've got my original drawing underneath here. So we're going to go up and around for its back, bring it down. And then go ahead and start right about here in the middle of the cheek. We're going to bring a line straight down for those feet. All right, so then go ahead and curve out for this part and then line down. We want to go ahead and add the back foot. We wanted to have that same sloping shape, so go ahead and make a curved line. And then we want to bring the back of the leg down to meet it. So you can go up just a little bit higher for there. Now we're going to give it a little sloping belly. Okay, right about here. And let's give it a tail. Now, if you're one of my younger followers and you think that looks good for yourself, you want to just keep it like that, you can just leave it just like that, and then we'll add the decorations. If you want to add the other two legs, you can go ahead and add one more leg here and one more here. And we want to end those up a little higher because that gives us the perspective that we're looking at the elephant from our side angle here. Okay, so what we're going to add to it is we're going to add some of its decoration. So over the eye, we were going to add some little teardrops. So go ahead and add little teardrop shapes. Just start at the point and bring it back up to the point. We're going to make another shape that's kind of similar to that. It's called a Paisley. So it looks like a teardrop, but we're going to actually curl it around for just a second, and we're going to go around and then meet it with a little circle bit right there. All right, now if that seems kind of hard for you, you can just do the teardrop shape and you can just leave that little part off. Okay, now go ahead and add some little loops to make a flower design around that Paisley. And we're going to go work on the trunk now. So on the trunk, we're going to give it some little stripes. We're going to start with some triangle shapes, so go ahead and add about 4 of those, and then we're going to do them going the opposite direction from the bottom up. And you just want to kind of think about filling in that shape that you see here. So on the next one, I'm looking to go in between those two right there. All right, I think I'm going to do about 1 more right there. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on the legs. So on the knees, they kind of traditionally put these little swirls a lot of times. And elephants are a big part of India's culture. They do ride them for transportation. They do decorate them. They paint them for festivals and for some traditions. And then they actually, they really love their elephants. So you might see a lot of art. If you were to travel there, you might see a lot of art that has elephants in them. And of course, mandalas are a beautiful type of art that comes from India. When they do a lot of the henna on the hands with the wet henna paste that makes the semi-permanent tattoo on their hands. All right, so what we're doing here is we're just going and giving it a little triple bounce, and then we're going to double those up right there. Now what we want to do is we want to work on the mandala on the back. So we're going to start with a half circle here, 2 circles, 3, 4, 5, and if you're willing to do one more, we'll do 6 right here. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to fill those in different ways, and then I'll show you a couple more things that you can add if you choose to. So we're going to leave that first one alone. You can leave that one white or whatever color you decide to color it, but in between these, we're going to go ahead and add just some straight lines. Skip the next one and go into a flower design. You want your flower to go from this line to this line, so we want it to touch and bring back. Good. So the next one's going to be a zigzag line. So go ahead and bring down your zigzag line, and you just need to go nice and slow because we want to try to curve it carefully as we go, like so. All right. Now on some of the traditional ones, they did a little symbol that looks like this, and I know for some kids this is really hard to draw, so I'm going to tell you that don't do this unless you just really want a little bit of a challenge or you really are willing to try it. It's a little hard to make this kind of flower design, but it looks so beautiful. So you can choose to do that, and then I'm just going to put one more little half circle in between there, and I'm going to call that design done. Now, one of the other little designs that I saw that they usually use is this little, it almost looks like a snowflake. So I'm going to put a plus sign and an X, and then I'm going to put little dots at the end of each of these. And you can draw more than one of these if you choose. You can put like 3 on the little elephant's back, and of course you can add anything else that you think would make your elephant look good too. I'm just going to add a couple more little lines to its tail, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into the coloring portion for the day. All right, I like how that turned out, so I'm going to leave that right there. I'm going to go ahead and turn on a little bit of light here, and I'm going to look for some colors that I think would be beautiful. So we do know that elephants most of the time are a gray color. Let me go ahead and get my gray out. I'm going to be using my markers today. You guys can use whatever you guys have at home. And remember that we do want to have a swatch that we can use to get our colors on. So I'd like to have that second piece of paper so that I can check and see what my colors are going to be. All right, so I'm looking in my box right now. If you'd like to look with me, let's look in here. I'm looking at these different colors I've got here, and I think these might be a good one for a gray color. So let's go ahead and try those out. So that's going to be my darker gray. Those look a lot alike. Let me see what this one looks like here. All right. I think I've got a good one for my light and my dark. I'm going to go ahead and stick with those. So let's go ahead and start with that. And if you guys have just one color at home, that's fine too. I usually use one lighter and one darker just because I like to add my shadows in. So we want to go in between all of these designs and try not to get too close to our black Sharpies so that we don't accidentally pull any of that black into our picture. And just like we usually talk about, we want to go ahead and we want to go around all of our edges first. All right, and try to make sure that you are going around all your items and then try to go into one direction when you are doing the rest of the coloring. All right. So that's one part of it. We're going to go ahead and do the legs now. So go ahead and start with the first leg and fill in your area. I'm probably going to make the bottom of the elephant's foot a little bit of the darker shading color. Again, try to get around those details so that you don't accidentally pick up that ink. I'm just going to get as close as I can without getting it on my marker. All right, I'm going to finish this first leg now. We're going to go ahead and outline the belly. All right, fill it in one direction. And work on the back two legs, and then we'll move on to the next color. We'll go ahead and do the little spot in the middle of the tail as well. These little lines on there are actually little ties, like ribbon that they put on the elephant's tail. So we'll go ahead and come up with some cute color ideas for that. All right, so the elephant now is done. We need to work on the shading. So I'm going to take my darker color. I'm going to show you kind of like where I go when I'm doing shading. I'm always going to look for thinking about where is the light coming from. So if the light source is coming from the sun above, then everything along the bottom of the edges of the bottoms are going to be done with a shadow. So I'm going to do shadow along here, along the bottom of the face. I want shadow underneath where the ear is going to be hanging over. I'm going to want shadow on the bottom of the belly where the leg is hanging over. This bottom leg is going to get shadows because it's going to have the shadow from the belly. And then a little bit on the edges here, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the bottoms of my feet. So when you do shadows, you can just lay like a line of the darker color along the edge here. And a little goes a long way. You don't need it to be very thick. You just need to show that there is a difference. So think about that, how the ear would throw a shadow over it. Like if the sun's coming down from here, you would definitely see a shadow over underneath where that ear is hanging. There would probably be a shadow here because of the sun hitting the top of the head. On the back of the leg here, on the belly, along the edge of this leg, definitely more so under here. We'll do a little along the back of here, along the edge of the tail, and along the bottom of the feet. All right, while I'm doing the feet, I'm going to start thinking about my color choices. And I want to use some really bold colors. I think I'm thinking about a turquoise. I'm thinking about a gold, like a goldenrod. And maybe like a dark red, like a crimson. So, you know, when you're coloring, just take your time. Take your time with your markering. All right. I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and find some colors now that we like for our decorations. So I think I like this as the gold. I think I'll use that for my goldenrod. I think I'm going to use this blue, and this looks like it'd probably be a pretty good orange. Let's check our swatch. Let's try our blue first. All right, that's a lovely color and shade. That'll be a very nice, that's more of an orange. I kind of want to get one more gold. So let's try there. Those are very nice. So we'll keep those two for that next part. And let's just see if this is an orange or a red. Oh, that's a nice dark red. Okay. I like that. I'll use that as well. And then maybe one green. So I'm thinking about this one here, which is really kind of in between. That'll be lovely. Okay, so I think I'm going to start at the bottom of his feet with the green. And again, you guys can always choose what you want your colors to be and how you want to do your pictures during this coloring portion. I'm just here to give you guys ideas and pointers. I think I'm also going to use that on the tail. And I think I'm going to use that for part of the mandala. So when I'm doing my marker rendering, I usually like to do everything that I need to with that color before I put that color away and move on to my next color. So when I'm looking at this picture right now, I'm thinking, what else did I want to make green before I put the cap on and move on to my next color choice? And that way you're not really going back and forth to all your markers. You kind of get an idea of what you want to do. I think I'll also make the inside of my paisley a nice green color like this. All right, that looks good. I'm going to leave that be, and I'm going to jump into my blue color. I think I want my blue to be, I think I'm going to do some of my striping with my blue, because I think I want the flower to be that nice goldenrod color. So I think I'll do that line there and this line here with my light turquoise. Perhaps I'll bring it into here. This is one of my favorite colors, so I find myself using it in nearly everything I do. All right, so we'll bring that down and around. Now I want to look at this red color. I really kind of think I want my stripes this nice dark red. They almost look like little tiger stripes. You guys can choose what color you want it to be. Just work hard on staying inside the lines, coloring in fully, taking your time, and having fun. Don't forget to have fun. That's why we do it. All right. I do want to bring that red into the rest of my picture, so I'm going to look at, I'm thinking right here is probably the best next place to put my red. It's really bold. It really stands out, so it'll be a nice frame. And once we get through the colors that we've chosen, if we still have some elements that need to be colored, we can always pick out more colors. I'm already kind of thinking of another shade of blue and perhaps adding in a purple. All right, so the next one I want to use is that marigold, that really beautiful gold. We want that one for our flower. I think that'll be the nicest for the flower. It's the most traditional color for flowers. And when you're using yellow, be very careful not to get too close to your black marker. That's going to pick up your black marker the most. I can't tell you how many of my yellow markers in my art room have black all over them because they've been put too close to black. markers. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little tiny bit around this little paisley as well. And then I'm going to move on to that orange color. All right, so I think I want the orange on the kneecaps here. So I'm going to go ahead and color in around the swirl. Again, be careful. You might want to go ahead and follow around the swirl just to try to not run right through that black. Because even though this is a little darker than the yellow, you might still end up with that same problem of picking up a little bit of black marker. And we don't want to dirty the tips, the nibs of our markers. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into another color set. So we'll go ahead and put these back away. It's important to, if you have markers that are in a set, it's important to put them back before you go choose new ones so you remember where they go. It makes it easier to find them later. Now what I want to look for now is I actually want a darker green because I want to fill in these darker, these other spots with a darker green. So I'm just going to put my darker green next to this one so I can see how they look next to each other. And that's a pretty good transition color. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just try a little swatch over here. And if I don't think it's dark enough, then I can get a different one. I think that one is actually pretty good. So let's go ahead and fill in the other part of these triangles with the darker shade of green. Yeah, that looks really nice. I like that. All right, looking good. Let's see now what we want to do. We want to go ahead and find a color for this little section right there. And I'm thinking a really nice light purple. So let's just test this purple out and see how that looks. Yeah, that's nice. It's not taking too much away from the rest of the art. And you can choose to do all of them, or you can alternate them, almost like checkers. I think I'm going to alternate mine like so. I think I'd like to use that for the teardrops as well. That's a really beautiful shade. It's a nice pastel. All right, I think I really like the way that turned out. The last thing that I want to do is give the little tusk just a little tiny shadow. So let me just check this shadow color right here. I think that'll work. And I just want it along the bottom. It just gives it a little bit more realism, and it doesn't look so perfectly bright white that it wouldn't look realistic. All right, I really like the way that turned out. If you get a chance to look up some information about India, I can encourage you guys to do it. Learning about places and about their art is always part of art history that I teach to my kids at school. And I hope you guys had a really fun time doing this drawing with me. I will see you guys for the next drawing. Bye.